been a couple days since Sunday. I mean, as you look back on that celebration, how do you describe that emotion? What was that like to be part of that?
It's still pretty hard to put into words. I think we've been working so hard since January together as a team, and we knew that was something that we wanted to accomplish. So if I had to describe it in one word, I would say surreal, just because it's all the hard work and all the hours that we've been putting in is starting to pay off in a way that we can kind of grasp and see it pay off. And so it was very, very exciting. And I think obviously the celebration in the locker room was so cool, just with each other and with the coaches. It was just us as a team in there, and that was really, really special to have.
There's one weekend left the regular season. Do you think the season's gone by fast, slow? Like, is it crazy that we're already toward the end of it here?
Yeah, it's gone by so fast. I think the best way I can describe being a college athlete is sometimes your days go by really slow, but the weeks and the months go by so fast. And I think this season specifically has flown by. And so we all talk about it all the time. Like, there's no way that we just won the Big Ten and we finish up the Big Ten this week. So it's going by really, really fast.
John was kind of surprised by the celebration in Iowa after you guys won. There's a dog pile. Did that shock you a little bit, or what's your thoughts?
We discussed it. we might have planned it before, so we weren't shocked. We didn't know what the celebration was going to look like since we had clinched the share of it that Friday before. We didn't really know if we were going to get the celebration. We didn't really know when it was going to be. Us players had no idea when it was going to come, so we were like, you know what? We're going to dogpile and give it to ourselves today. So we kind of planned it.
You ended up with a bomb that dog pile.
Oh, I did. Backwards. I was my knees were bent and my legs were under me, and I was flat on my back at the bottom. So
You feeling okay?
yeah, it was fine.
Wisconsin's coming up this week. How are you, Nebraska, a different team than the last time you played?
I think every single week we figure out something about ourselves, and I think we have specifically had little bitty goals every single week, so we've made little improvements throughout the entire season. And obviously since Wisconsin, that game showed us a lot about ourselves, and so we've been able to kind of make a few tweaks here and there. Obviously it's nothing huge at this point in the season, but we are making little tweaks every single day and every single week. And so I'm excited to get into practice this week just to kind of see what the focus is for this week. And we haven't really focused on Wisconsin since we played them last time, so the focus will be this week. So I'm excited to get in there and see what it is for the week.
Merritt, as the season has gone on, still haven't lost, and that pressure kind of builds. How have you handled it, and how have you seen this team kind of handle that pressure grow with each passing match?
Yeah, I mean, that pressure is going to come with being undefeated, and you can't really do anything about it, honestly, but you can control how you react to it and how you respond to it. And I think as a team, we've done a really good job of just narrowing the focus on the match that we're playing at that moment, the point that's going on at that moment, the practice that we're in at that moment. We've done a very good job of kind of just being where our feet are and kind of minimizing the outside voices, which I think has helped us a ton. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be there a little bit, and there's going to be times when you feel it. But I think just reminding ourselves that, this is what we've been dreaming of as a team since January, and so we're kind of getting to live out those dreams, but also just reminding each other to stay present in the moment has helped us a ton.
Is that a skill, staying present in the moment? Is that something you have to work on? Is that hard?
Yes, it's definitely something that you have to work on, and it's one of those things that you have to remind yourself, and it's very easy to vary and your mind to wander and things like that, but we do a really good job of reminding ourselves, and the staff does a really good job of reminding us too, and so I think that helps a ton, but it's definitely a skill.
Who's the best team you've played this season?
I think there's been a few really good matches for us. I think Stanford was a really good test for us because I think that kind of showed us what team we could be, and they're obviously a great team, so out of that match we kind of were like, okay, like we can do this thing. It was a really big confidence booster for us because they're a great team. They're a very veteran team. So I think them, and then obviously Wisconsin was a big test for us as well. They're also a great team, and they challenge us physically, which we don't necessarily get challenged in that way all the time. And so for us, that was a huge challenge. And then I also think Penn State played a great match when we played them at Penn State, and that environment tested us a lot. So I would say those three matches were huge for us in different ways, and they all gave us a run for our money, and they all played great games. They're all solid teams, but I think they all tested us in different ways.
You talked last time there was talk about winning in the ugly. I mean, what does that mean to you, and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're not going to play clean and pretty volleyball all the time. And for us during that match, obviously the second set was ugly and we knew that. But I think winning in the ugly means to us, it's very it's an emotional thing. Whereas in that second set, it could have been very easy for us to shut down and just give up and be like, okay, well, that's it, But I think winning in the ugly for us really means keeping our head on straight, understanding that we might have to play a longer game than we wanted to, understanding that we didn't win that set, but we can win the next one, and kind of keeping our head on straight for the end goal, which is obviously winning, whether that's in 5 or if it's in 3. And so I think for us, it's kind of more like not letting the ugly affect us. And so I would say during Wisconsin, that was obviously a big thing because there was lots of ugly and there were lots of points in that match where we could have given up and we could have folded in. But we talked about through that match, we just got to win the long game. We don't have to win this set, but we got to win the next one. And so I think it's more of like being able to reset when you are in the ugly or you have a really ugly point. If you're able to reset and move on to the next one, I think that's really big for us.
Are you expected to have to deal with that again this week then?
We hope not, but they're going to test us. They're a great team. They're going to push us. They're going to, like I said before, the last time we played them, they're going to make the plays. They're going to make big plays, and how we respond and how we move on is going to be huge. We obviously hope it's not as ugly as the first go around, but you never know. So we'll be ready to adjust it however it starts to go.
Does the excitement of joy and of winning one trophy kind of motivate you more to get the next one?
Yes, for sure. I think that celebration that we talked about, it was just so cool for us to experience and for us to experience together. And so I think that would definitely drive us throughout the rest of the season, as we kind of got to experience a little taste of what it would be like. And so I think we'll definitely rely on that moment in the ugly when we get there.
Of those good teams that you played, what's most unique about what Wisconsin does?
I would say their physicality. It's unmatched right now in college volleyball, just how big of a front row they have, how tall they are, how physical they are. And so, like I said, for us, there's very few teams that can challenge us in that way. And so I think their physicality sets them apart. And it's more of you have to beat physicality in a different way, whereas teams that we could play throughout the normal season, we just kind of have to go about it a different way compared to Wisconsin. And so I think for us, that sets them apart and kind of changes the way that we have to approach the match a little bit, especially the second time around. So I would say that's definitely what sets them apart right now.
Is their physicality more imposing when they're attacking or with their defense?
I would say both. I would say probably a little bit more blocking wise, but I would say both. I mean, that's their strong suit is offense, and so I think obviously it helps them attacking wise too, but I would say both. I think obviously they're big blockers as well, and so like I said, it's just a little bit of a different way to go about it for us, and offensively and defensively and things like that. You just kind of have to make a few adjustments as you go, and you have to figure out what works against them, and things that work against them wouldn't necessarily work against other teams, and that's just the way the game goes. And so, but I would say it goes both ways.
Do the boys you play against in practice, do they give you a good prep for what you'll see across the net?
They do, and that's what we were reminding each other of in the first time around that we played them. Is we were like, okay, well, they're not as big of a blocker as Rod is, so it's just kind of putting it into perspective for us. Is like we play against that every single day. We have to hit against that every single day. Even like our blocking statue thing is bigger and taller, and we hit against that every single day. So it's just kind of putting it into perspective.
Given week, how many people come up to you and ask you about the team and you, and how do you handle it? I'm guessing it was different at Florida, that you probably didn't get it nearly as much. So what's it been like here handling that over the last year?
Yeah, it's so special. I mean, I went to Target yesterday and got stopped a few times, asked for pictures, and just people wanting to know how the team's going, how it was winning Big Ten, just congratulations, things like that. And it's really, really special, especially for women's sports to have that. And so every single day I'm so grateful to be a part of it and grateful to be in the position that I am, because it's very, very special. And you can't find that a lot of places.
How do you prepare for how you're gonna answer questions just from fans, because I'm guessing you get them a lot. What do you have things that you kind of go to? Do you expect it to be noticed when you're out and about?
Yes, I would say you definitely expect it, especially at this point in the season. But I think whatever question's thrown at you, you just kind of have to answer it in a way that best benefits the team. You have to keep that in mind, and so that's what I try to do. Because sometimes people will ask you and they're trying to get inside scoop on certain things, and so you kind of just have to understand that they have good intentions behind it, but you just have to answer in a way that's going to benefit the team and ultimately give credit back to the team and the staff and things like that.
Did anybody warn you, or did you go to like Lexi or somebody and go, is it always like this? Did anybody tell you that was gonna happen?
Yes, Coach did a bunch, and when I was on my visit, me and Lexi were eating dinner with the coaching staff, and a cute little lady came up to Lexi and was crying and asked for a picture. So I was on my visit and got a little taste of it. But Coach definitely repeatedly told me about it. So I didn't really believe him too much at first, but I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I saw the little lady come up to Lexi at dinner, I was like, oh, you weren't lying to me.
And it's not just you guys are having a lot of success in terms of women's programs here. Soccer is in the Elite Eight. Softball made the NCAA tournament last year. There's high hopes again this year. There's high hopes for women's basketball, national champions for track. Just what does that mean to you, being at a place that women's sports all across the board, there's sport and there's a lot of success?
Yeah, I think obviously it's so special and it's very, very hard to find, but you have to give a lot of credit to Trev and those people in authority because they put a lot of time and energy into women's sports, and that's not something that you can find everywhere. And everyone from top to bottom here cares about us as much as they care about any of the male sports, and I think that's very, very special to find. And Husker Nation obviously does as well, and so I think just the support that women's sports have here is really, really special and very, very hard to find. And I think that's why you're seeing the results that you're seeing, because that's not normal in our country right now, and we're obviously hoping to change that, but it is very, very special, and you can't find that a lot of places, and so I think that's why that success is coming, because that support is unmatched.
Final questions for Merritt? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.